more than 30 medical terms for different combinations of sex traits that fall outside of the typical male and female paths of development. Now, the article goes on to explain that the alleged existence of these 1.7% of intersex people throws the whole notion of the sex binary into question. The article ends with a quote from a so-called intersex activist named Sean Saifa Wall, and it says, "After all, the fixation on a sex binary in science," Wall points out, "doesn't occur in a vacuum." Quote, "I think for people asking the question, is your child a boy or a girl, I would really challenge them to just take a moment and ask, why? Why is it so important? Are you just happy to have a baby? Are you just happy to start a family? I think those are quality of life questions that often get overlooked or missed in this conversation." Yes, why do you care if your child is a boy or a girl? Why do you care if your child is human? Why do you care about any of the basic physical details of your child? Why can't you raise and parent him as if he was an ambiguous, nondescript lump of sentient matter? Pretend that he's just an amorphous puddle of cells and DNA. That's all that matters. Makes perfect sense. A clip from the documentary provides more, completely imaginary, by the way, details. Let's watch.
While gendered social structures are ancient, a binary framework of biological sex didn't actually exist in Western culture until the late 18th century. Before, science recognized only one sex, the male, and considered the female body an inferior version of it. The shift that historians call the two-sex model served mainly to reinforce gender and racial divisions by tying social status to the body.
Okay, so let's go over a few things here. First of all, we must always keep in mind that the only reason anybody ever talks about intersex is to validate transgenderism. That's the only reason Scientific American is running this series. It's the only reason they jam intersex onto the pride flag. It's the only reason they include intersex in the LGBT alphabet soup. Intersex is a medical condition that has nothing to do with LGBT. But it's included and in fact given pride of place simply because people who suffer from this particular genetic deformity are useful to the trans agenda. Never mind that trans and intersex have nothing in common, and that the existence of intersex people does not even come close to validating the claims and self-perceptions of trans people. But it's important to understand why they're talking about intersex at all, because then it makes sense why they lie about it so much. For instance, in the passage from the article that we read, they say 1.7% of people are intersex. Now, if you're a person with common sense, you hear that figure and you feel immediately skeptical. 1.7%? Really? I mean, that's still a minority percentage-wise, but that would translate to like 6 million people in this country alone. Are there really 6 million intersex people walking around in this country? Well, no. That number is a lie.